So in wandering around the suttas lately, there are a number of things that just for this moment, for reasons I don't know, they're very inspiring to me. Um, I mentioned that, you know, so many times in the suttas, the Buddha is saying that the core of waking up is seeing clearly and knowing what it is that you're seeing. Um, and that the key to happiness is knowing um, that being ethical, being free from remorse, um, creates happiness. I think another important um, teaching that, have been paying attention to is the teaching that it is faith uh, that supports unbinding from all the knots and tangles and enmeshments that we have with our habits and with the world. And what I liked in looking at the text is like what happens after you establish faith um, is that you relax. All the things that come after that, joy and calm, and you know, it's just it's just a way of saying, have faith. Have faith in, especially in all the work you have already done. That's really the prime, there's lots of things about what to have faith in. But you've done so much work over the course of your life to develop, to have a sense of, growth and wisdom accruing, and you've done a lot. To have faith that that stuff is available to you all the time. That when something happens, you can access those tools that you've created, those skills that you've developed. And then having that faith, relax, relax. Let the world flow. Let experience come to you. Knowing that as things arise, as you experience life unfolding, you have well-developed competencies. You can do this. You can bring the skills you developed. You don't have to only respond to the world habitually. You've developed the ability to relax, to pause, to reflect on what's occurring in this very moment, and then respond wholesomely out of the skills you've developed. This is the basis of faith. There's another basis that I wanted to mention. Um, One of, a very profound and quite long sutta, one of the Buddha's discourses, is called the Great Teaching on Causation. It's about the how the unfolding of dependent arising occurs. It's about the nature of self. But there was something in there. Oh, it's also the one that includes the story, for those of you who know the story, that one day the Buddha's cousin Ananda comes to him and says, "Oh, I've been studying dependent origination, and it's so vivid and clear to me. It's so clear." And the Buddha says, "No, Ananda, no, it's too complex for that." Instead of Ananda being like, "I've got this," Ananda's like, "Oh, you mean there's a lot more, huh?" And so that's what leads to the Buddha talking for a long time. He's basically just having a conversation with Ananda, which we're fortunate that Ananda supposedly had an immense memory and was able to hear all this and be able to, like, decades later, recite the whole thing and teach it to students. Or maybe that's how he memorized. Maybe right after the Buddha told him, he gathered a bunch of the other monks and told them the whole thing in detail, and then went and found another group of monks and that told them in detail. And that's how it became memorized. That's how the oral tradition started. I like that, even if I just made it up. So the Buddha is talking to Ananda, and the Buddha says something about how does aging and death, what causes aging and death? How does it arise? How is it possible? What is the cause of aging and death? And there's a reason I want to read this section to you. It's brief. It's just one paragraph, really. From birth as a requisite condition comes aging and death. Thus it has been said. And this is the way to understand how, from birth as a requisite condition, comes aging and death. If there was no birth at all, in any way, of anything anywhere, for example, no birth of devas in the state of devas, of celestials in the state of celestials, of spirits in the state of spirits, of demons in the state of demons, of human beings in the state of human beings, of quadrupeds in the state of quadrupeds, of birds in the state of birds, of snakes in the state of snakes, or of any being in its own state, in the utter absence of birth, from the cessation of birth, would aging and death arise? No, said Ananda. Thus, this is a cause, this is a reason, this is an origination, this is a requisite condition for aging and death, that is, birth. Well, that's obvious, right? Something has to be born before it could die. So, why is this significant? Because the Buddha is saying something much more powerful about this. The Buddha is saying, I'll pause and tell the story. So imagine someone close to you, a friend, a partner, a family member, does something quite disagreeable. Maybe they're doing something you think harms them. Maybe they're doing something you think hurts you. Maybe they're doing something that you think hurts something somewhere in the world or someone. Maybe they're just doing something you think is stupid. And you think, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? That's so dumb. It's like, can't you see that, you know? And this is the answer. The answer is as obvious as death is the consequence of birth. Human behavior is the consequence of being human. It's completely natural. All the different things you see people do every day, and I'm not talking about the news because that's all distorted. I'm talking about your direct experience of people, which includes plenty of weird stuff. But it's actually, that's kind of our problem, is we think it's weird. We think there's something wrong. We think it should be different than it is. The requisite condition that causes all of the human behavior that you dislike is being human. What I have said in the past is, if somehow you could magically see everything that has ever happened to the person who's doing this foolish thing or hurtful thing, if you could see every moment of their entire life, and then you could see every moment of the lives of everyone they have ever been in contact with over the course of their lives, and you could see how the flow of people's patterns and energies and behaviors and habits led to this person doing the foolish thing that they did, you would go, oh, well, okay, I guess that makes sense. Now let's add you. Every foolish thing that you do, every hurtful thing that you do, every quote unquote mistake that you make, if you could see clearly all the events of your entire life, all the events of the lives of everyone you've ever been in contact with, and percolating out from there, everyone they've been in contact with, every bit of weather, right? Every cultural conditioning, everything. You would look in the mirror and you would say, everything that I am is so natural, is clearly the result of conditions, right? From the birth of this being to the current behavior of this being, all natural. This is the cause. This is the reason. This is the origination. This is the requisite condition for how I am right now. And that is all the conditions that shape this. It's just natural. There's nothing wrong. Is there work to be done? Sure, there's lots of work to be done, because all the conditions that you ran into over the course of your lives and the lives of everyone you've ever encountered and the lives of everyone they encountered, a lot of those conditions were pretty harsh and unpleasant. And patterns developed to work with that. And here you are, subject to all those patterns. So what's to be done? Oh, how about clear seeing? How about mindfulness? Wouldn't it be amazing if you took the skills you have already developed so that when anything occurred that was you know, I'll just say significant. Um, in a conversation with someone, something arises that's significant. Or just in the actions of living in the world, at work, at home, with friends and family, something arises that's significant. And you pause and you say, oh, what I'm seeing here is the natural result of life, of all the conditions that have been part of life. There's no one to blame. If you want to go with blame, you have to percolate out to all the people who shaped this moment. The people in the other person's life, the people in your life. You bring this understanding and you see it clearly. You may not be able to know in the moment all the details of what brought you to this place or what brought the other to this place. But you know the details are there, even if they're unseen. In fact, it doesn't matter if they're seen, because if you go into a tremendous analysis of how the other person got to be the way they are, how you got to be the way you are, all of these, then, that's in some ways ends up being just a form of entertainment, just a form of distraction, maybe because the raw confronting of the way life shapes us is a little much. Well, if it's a little much, maybe a little thinking's okay. You have my support in taking care of yourself. You don't have to do anything other than relax and see clearly what is occurring. And know what you're seeing. Know that the behavior, let's say, of another person, what you're seeing is the current percolation of a lifetime of events. There are things that somebody might do in your presence that you find, you barely notice. Doesn't impact you. It's not important. It's just the way they are. And yet, another person encountering this behavior from, has a tremendous reaction. It really hits them at the core. It's like a big deal to them. You begin then to see that there's a both element to when something disturbing occurs. That the person who's doing this, quote, disturbing thing is doing what they're doing, for sure, but they're doing it out of, lifetimes of experiences. And you're upset is a result of lifetime of experiences also. The upset might not need to be there. It isn't an automatic that the person behaving this way upsets everyone. They might not upset everyone. There are people who upset most people most of the time, and people who upset some people some of the time, and people who hardly ever upset anyone much of the time. All of those Lincoln-esque descriptions. But in all cases, the upset includes you. includes whatever it is that you learned and developed and perceive that you find upsetting. It's a connected relationship. And it's arisen as a result. All right, this is the cause, this is the reason, this is the origination, this is the requisite condition for what is occurring now. That is what has occurred before. This is the essence of the Harvey story. For those of you who remember, I'm not going to repeat it, but just the sense that what came before creates the mind state that you approach the moment. So I want to read one more paragraph from this sutta on great causation. This is the paragraph on craving. From feeling as a requisite condition comes craving. Thus it has been said. And this is the way to understand how from feeling as a requisite condition comes craving. If there were no feeling at all, in any way, of anything anywhere, no feeling born from contact at the eye, no feeling born from contact at the ear, no feeling born from contact at the nose, no feeling born from contact at the tongue, no feeling born of contact at the body, and no feeling born of contact at the intellect. In the utter absence of feeling, from the cessation of feeling, would craving be discerned? No, said Ananda. Thus, this is the cause, this is the reason, this is an origination, this is a requisite condition for craving, that is feeling. Craving, the Buddha says in the Second Noble Truth, is the cause of suffering. Craving is the cause of tension, anxiety, restlessness. Craving is the cause of all discontent. And one would then think, well, craving is the enemy. I have to annihilate craving. Okay, if I'm going to annihilate craving, I have to get rid of its cause. What is it caused by? It's caused by feeling. Oh, trouble. I'm not going to get rid of feeling. I'm not going to get rid of feeling how I feel when a sunset is magnificent. I'm not going to get rid of feeling when some, complicated thing I cooked for myself tastes great and it feels so wonderful and comforting. I'm not going to get rid of the feeling even of loving and caring about another person. Even though loving and caring about another person causes stress. Because now I'm not only caring about me, I'm caring about them too. And I have feelings about this. Oh, and the feelings lead to craving. This person I love, I crave for them to be well. I also crave for them to be nice to me. Right? From feeling comes craving. It's natural, right? It's natural. We live human lives. We feel. We intend to feel. When the feelings are good, we love it. When the feelings are bad, we hate it. This love and hate is the craving. With clear seeing, we see this as it arises. We're watching that amazing, extraordinary, beautiful sunset. We're feeling like elevated and glorious, luminous. And as we're seeing the sunset, we're also seeing feeling conditions craving. We're feeling this sense of wanting this sunset to be, wanting our experience to be there. And we know it's natural, so we're not like, you don't have to do a big analysis. You don't have to figure out what this is about. It's like this. In the presence of this beautiful, extraordinary sunset, feeling arises, craving arises. I know, this is the other part, knowing what you're seeing. I know the sunset's beauty is in fact the result of change. The sunset could not be the sunset if it froze. As much as I want to live in this life filled with the joy of an extraordinary sunset, the sunset is ending. That's what you're actually watching. You're watching its ending. And it ends. The sun goes down, the colors transform, slowly the stars come out. It all changes. And at some point, sitting there watching the stars, you realize you're really cold. You haven't moved for a while. And suddenly the seeing is no longer central. What's central is, ooh, I'm uncomfortable. You feel uncomfortable. It's another feeling. You crave for that feeling to go away. I'm going to go put on something warmer. Then you get up, you go put on something warmer, and now you're in a whole new mode, right? You're reborn. You're someone else. Something else is the focus of life. See it as it happens. Know it for what it is. Just the arising of moments of life, and they're passing away. And be graceful. Move easily. Have faith. Have faith that you can, in fact, see with some clarity and know what it is you're seeing. You're seeing the coming into being of experience, and it's fading away, and a new experience arising for our being, our life, over and over again. Something's beautiful, something's ugly, something's calming, something's disturbing, all arising naturally. So let's practice paying attention to this. Paying attention. in such a manner that you are seeing clearly each thing that arises, and that you know this is what's arising. This is some of the mind state that was present before it arose. This is the feeling that arises along with this experience. Watch this as you sit.